Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. This is Trusty Rusty Depot, and today we're going to be talking about enums, which is short for enumerations. This is a way to create custom types, and it's very similar to structs or structures in Rust, except that rather than allowing you to group related fields and data together, enums allow you to specify that a value is one of a possible set of types. So I've created a Rust project called enums, and I'm going to open up the source main.rs file, which currently just contains the hello world by default. Now, as an example, I'm going to create an enum that is going to represent a bunch of different colors. So the way we can define an enum is we can write the keyword enum and then the name of the enum, which is going to be color, and notice the capital, the beginning. These need to be in camel case, just like structs. And then braces, and inside here we are going to put all of our variants. So I'm going to define a couple of possible colors. So all the variants also need to be camel case. Now that I've created my enum, what I can do is I can create an instance of this enum, just like we did with structs. So I'm going to go back into our main function, and I'm going to create a variable called color, and it's going to be equal to one of these variants from the enum. So in order to select what variant, I'm going to write first the enum's name, so color, and then 2 colons, which will allow me to access all of the variants. So for example, let's say that this variable is going to hold the variant red. Now I can create an implement block for this enum, and I can create a function called color name, which is going to take in a reference to the self, which will be the enum itself. And what we can do in here is we can print, depending on the variant of the enum that is passed in, we can print a different thing. So here what we can do is we can use a match statement. We can match self. If the color self is red, what we want to do is print the word red. If the color is orange, then we can print the word orange, and so on for every one of the colors. Now, one thing to note about match statements is that they are exhaustive, which means that if we wanted to not do anything, if the color is purple, we have to write color purple. We can't just leave out the variant called purple, because if we do, Rust will error because we haven't addressed what should happen if the color is purple. So what we need to do is return an empty tuple, which is called the unit type in Rust, and the unit type is what we return when the function doesn't return anything. It actually just returns the unit type, which is an empty tuple. Now, because we are within the implement block of color, we know that the self is of type color, so we can replace the name of the enum with self. Now, if we go back up to our main function, we can call our method, a color name, on our variable, and if we compile this, we get red because our variable is red. Now, let's say we wanted to store a color that can be determined through RGB color codes. So, for example, a color that is not listed here, like black, for example, we wanted to write that out as RGB, and that would be RGB 000. So what we can do is we can add a variant called RGB And this will tell us that the color is of type RGB. But we need it to store some numbers in it. And we can do this because enums can actually store data. So what we can do is we can put 3 U8s inside in this tuple, and we can have this RGB value store a tuple of U8s. Now, if we come down to our match statement here, what we can do is we can use our pattern matching, and we can assign names to each of these numbers. So we can say RGB, and if we receive an RGB value, then we can print color is RGB. Now, if we create another variable called RGB, and we set it equal to color RGB, and then we put in 000, if we then call RGB dot color name, if we run this code, we will get color is RGB 000. Now, one thing that makes enums super useful is that you can actually store structs inside of enums as data, and you can also store enums inside of structs as field types. So for example, if we had a struct that was called close, it could have a field inside of it called color that could be of a type enum called color. And if we then created an instance of this struct using a variable called shirt, we could use our enum and define the color as red. We could even create the color as an RGB value and make it black 000. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.